Episode 6, 5 Ways to Finish Strong.
Welcome to the From Caterpillars to Butterflies Personal Growth Podcast. Just like the caterpillar is destined to become a butterfly, you too are designed for a beautiful transformation. This is where you go to grow and transform your life. And now, here's your host, Certified Life Coach, Charlene Dior.
Hey, this is Charlene, your host of the From Caterpillars to Butterflies Personal Growth Podcast. And today we're talking about finishing strong. We have a tendency to start things really strong out the gate. We're excited, there's enthusiasm, and then somewhere along the line, we lose all that and we finish very weak if we finish at all. And so I wanted to share some tips on today's podcast episode about how you can actually be a strong finisher. I think if it is worth starting strong, it is worth ending strong. So it's important that you have the character and the tenacity and the resolve to be a strong finisher. How many times have you started something brand new, a new relationship, a new business, a new workout plan, a new anything, and you start off really strong and slowly but surely you start to lose it. I know I can relate to that on so many different levels and so many different areas of my life. Relationships being one of them. You meet a guy or a girl and in the beginning it's great. You talk on the phone till 1 a.m. in the morning every night, and you are IMing throughout the day when you're supposed to be working, and you're meeting for lunch, and it's just all things sugar and spice and everything nice, right? And then slowly but surely, this is really a personal experience in my last relationship. Slowly but surely, the connection starts to fade away. The phone calls, they get shorter in length. The amount of days that go between the calls gets longer, and it just really starts to fade and die. And so then that relationship ends, and then you find yourself starting all over again. And then if you're not careful, you're going to repeat that same pattern. The same thing happens in business. I've started on this journey to launch a personal growth and coaching business. And I've met a lot of other entrepreneurs over the course of this journey that I've been on. And there's so much starting and stopping. And there's so much changing of business plans. There's so much, I'm a coach today, or today I'm a chef, or, all this being all over the place. Starting strong and then fading away, losing that commitment, that resolve, that passion that you had, right? Because if you have a passion for starting a coaching business, then you end up doing something different, then you've kind of like lost some of that passion. Same thing goes with exercise programs, wanting to lose weight. You start really strong, you're exercising, you're eating right, you're drinking the amount of water that you need to drink, and you're hitting the gym up, and you're really taking care of your body, and you're starting to see results, you're starting to lose weight, and then you just start relaxing. I'm going to skip today. I'm going to have this cheat meal, and things start to fall off. And it's so important, because like I said earlier, if it's worth starting strong, it's definitely worth finishing strong. If it's worth starting to lose weight, then isn't it also worth finishing to lose weight? And if it's worth, you put so much effort into meeting someone new and to starting off on the right foot and making a good impression, or you start that business and you spend so many hours researching, and you spend so much money hiring support and coaches and resources. And so isn't it also worth it to not just start strong and start investing all your time and your money and your resources and your energy into something, and then because you don't know how to finish strong, you lose it? Or you have to always be starting and stopping. I was driving home the other day. It was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, in the midst of rush hour traffic, and the street that I go home on, it's Almeda. It was really backed up in a way that it isn't normally backed up. And I really had to get home because I had a coaching call at 6. and I didn't want to be late. And so I was like, let me get off this street and find another way home. I didn't really know where I was going, but I was just going to experiment and try to find a way to get home. And so I veered off of that main street and put it in my GPS, and it took me this other way, and it ended up having me circle back onto Alameda, the street that I was originally on. But I got back on right past what was causing the traffic to be backed up. And what it was is that is a four-way intersection right there where I ended up at. And the lights weren't working. They were blinking red. And so, when the lights aren't working, the intersection becomes a four-way stop. So every car has to stop when they get to the light and let the other traffic go. And that was backing up traffic. And I was really surprised at the magnitude or the impact that had on traffic. It wasn't like a lane was closed. There wasn't a car accident. It was just the idea that there's no real forward momentum because every single car has to stop. So they're stopping and starting, stopping and starting. And when I was on Alameda, it was a parking lot. It was a parking lot because there's no momentum. There's no green light. There's nothing to get behind. And so when we're stopping and starting and stopping and starting, it's backing up our progress. It's backing up our plans. And we probably don't even realize to the extent, but it is. And so we have to, again, learn how to finish strong, how to get the momentum of the green light on our side so that we can finally get to where we really want to be, and we're not always stopping and starting all over again. So I wanted to share 3 tips that I have on how to finish strong. I was in a mastermind program. It was 6 months long, and so it was a month and a half before the program was going to end, and I was starting to think, okay, how am I going to finish strong? Because I'm just a little bit, I don't know, I'm just really fascinated with or committed maybe to finishing strong. And I've written about this on my blog. It's actually one of my more popular blog posts, which is why I decided to do a podcast on it, because people seem to like that blog post on finishing strong. So I'm a month and a half out from ending, and I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to finish strong? And I thought back on how I started, so we think about finishing strong. Well, how did you start? And for me, I started by really listing out what actions, what habits I was going to develop over the course of that mastermind. Before it even started, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to make the best of my time and the best of my money, because I've invested in that program. And so I really went into it with a plan, with a strategy. And of course, over time, some of those things fell off by the wayside. And so when I'm thinking about, how am I going to finish strong, then I'm thinking, what are some of the things that I used to do in the beginning that I don't do now, that I got relaxed on? That's how I finish strong. It's like people say, always date your spouse. Why? Because that's how you started. Because you started dating them, and that's when they fell in love with you, and that's when there was some chemistry and connection. And so if you stop dating your spouse, then that's when, for a lot of couples, things start to go downhill. So going back to revisit how you started is a great way to decide how you can finish. So you're either going to finish by picking up some of the things that you stopped doing, or you're going to look at how you started and then take it up a notch, So, I think in terms of business and blogs and things. And so if I'm thinking, I'm going to blog twice a week, that's how I started. And if now I don't blog at all, then I'm going to go back and start blogging twice a week. Or if I'm still blogging twice a week, then I might say I'm going to blog 3 times a week now, or 4 times a week. So it could be just taking it up a notch. What I started off doing, I'm going to take it up a notch. So thinking about, starting off the new year in January, and everyone has New Year's resolutions, and, people are making vision boards and going to vision board parties, and they might hire a coach in January to support them. And then come March or July or, whenever, and now they, the vision board is tucked in the closet somewhere. They don't have a coach. They aren't planning, or there's no strategy in place. Well, you finish strong by going back and creating a new vision board, going to work with a coach again, going back to the gym, pulling the vision board out the closet and hanging it up on the wall, or spending some time with it. Or if you started off the year reading a book every week, then now you want to get back into that and start reading another book a week. So my first tip on finishing strong is to revisit how you started and make those habits once again, or to take those things up another notch. My second tip for finishing strong is doing the things that you said you were going to do that you didn't do. So when I was in the mastermind, I said, I'm going to go to networking events. And I didn't really do that because I don't really like networking in person. And so when I'm thinking about, okay, well, how am I going to finish strong? I'm going to commit to doing what I committed to do before, but I didn't do it. So you finish strong by picking up things that you never did that you said you were going to do. This podcast is actually one of the things that was just finally birthed as a result of that. It's been something that's been in my mind and in my heart for over a year. I don't know if it was last year or the beginning of this year. I actually signed up for something. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was Blog Talk Radio. I don't know. It was something that people blog on. I can't even remember, but I went in, I signed up, and so I was committed to launching a blog, a podcast, and I didn't do nothing with it. And so when I'm thinking about, okay, well, how am I going to finish strong? I want to finish strong by doing something that I have been planning on doing for a very long time, and I just haven't been committing myself to do it. So that's another way that you can finish strong. The third way that you can finish strong, and this actually comes from Renee Lamb of True Peace Coaching. She did a Facebook Live on this recently. She asked the question, what does it mean to finish strong? And to her, she said, finishing strong is having a plan in place. And I think it particularly is meaningful when we're looking at the calendar year. So, we're in the last quarter of the year. How are we going to finish this year strong? And so she's saying, you need to have a plan in place for how you're going to start the next year. And I think that that's a great tip for finishing strong, regardless of what it is, right? If you are on a diet regimen, you want to lose weight. And so what are you going to do after you lose the weight? Having a plan for once you have arrived at your goal weight is a way that you can finish strong. Having a plan for how you're going to start the next year off right is a good way to finish strong. So that's the third way, is making sure that you have a solid plan in place for what are you going to do next. When you're in the coaching program and it ends, what are you going to do next? When the year has ended, what are you going to do next? When you've met your goal weight or your goal income or your goal whatever, what are you going to do next? Having that plan in place so that it's not haphazard and it's really intentional is a really great way for you to finish strong. The last way that you can finish strong is by surrounding yourself with people who are on that same journey or who can support you on the journey. So you either want to have a coach, a fitness coach, a life coach, a business coach, someone who isn't going to let you get off the hook, or a relationship coach, or you want to have a network of people that are on the same journey with you that can also help you finish. So if you're starting a business, and being around other business owners, if you are losing weight and being around other people who are losing weight or who already have the healthy habits that you want to adopt, and staying connected to that source is another great way to make sure that you finish strong. Accountability is a very powerful resource to help you stay committed and to finally accomplish what you want to accomplish. I read it somewhere that the chances of accomplishing a goal increases to 95% when you have an appointment with an accountability partner or coach. So if you commit to someone that you're going to do XYZ by certain date, and then you have an appointment with them on the calendar for that date, a call or a meeting or something, the chances of you actually completing that activity by that date increases to 95% because you don't want to let the other person down. We will let ourselves down. We have a problem with personal integrity sometimes, which is another topic for another day, but we don't like to let other people down. And so we tend to hold and honor the commitment that we make to them more than we do to ourselves. So having an accountability partner or a coach or someone who's going to help hold you accountable is another really great way for you to finish strong. The last thing that I want to say about finishing strong is that it's perfectly okay to acknowledge your weaknesses. And I think that you should. If you know that you have a habit of starting things off strong and ending them weak or not ending them at all, it's perfectly okay for you to acknowledge that that is one of your weaknesses and that is one of your opportunities for growth. And it's perfectly okay to go to another person and say, hey, I struggle with this. I've struggled with it before, right? So if you're in a relationship with someone and you know that you are going to fade out at some point, and you don't want to keep having your relationships be impacted by that, right? Because I was talking to someone who had this problem that all of their relationships ended because the woman didn't think that he gave them enough attention. One woman said that dating him was like being in a long distance relationship. Another woman told him that what he won't do, someone else will do for her, right? So get it together. And so if you notice this pattern and you know for yourself that this is a weak area for you, then it's perfectly okay to go to another person, a person who's impacted by it perhaps, and say, hey, sometimes I get distracted or overwhelmed with other areas of my life, and I might tend to put this thing here on the back burner. And I know that that's not good, and I don't want to have that ruin our relationship. So can you help me when you've noticed that I am not really giving this the attention that it needs, and when you notice that I'm distracted or preoccupied with other things? Could you just, before you get mad and move on, can you just help me by just pointing it out to me and just let me know? That doesn't mean that you don't have to work on it. You don't have to try, but it's perfectly okay to say to someone else, I need your help with this. And here are ways that you can help me. If you are trying to lose weight and you live with other people, it's perfectly okay to say, hey guys, I've been trying to lose this weight for a very long time, and I make some progress and then I lose it. And part of it is because you guys are eating pizza and beer and stuff. And so could you help me? Could you help me by doing whatever it is that they can help you? Not having snacks in the house, or going out to eat pizza and not ordering it in, whatever it is. Don't be afraid to ask other people in your life who are impacted by it or who are impacting you for their help and their support as you attempt to be someone who finishes what they start and who finishes it strong. I said I was going to give you 3 tips. I actually ended up giving you 5 ways that you can be a strong finisher, because I like to over deliver. So just to recap those 5. 1, when you want to finish strong, take a look at how you started and either re-implement those things that you were doing in the beginning or take them up a notch. 2, take action on those things that you have been delaying or procrastinating on. 3, have a plan. Have a plan for what you're going to do next, for what you're going to do once you've accomplished your goal, or what you're going to do for the next year or for the next phase of the journey that you're on. And 4 is to get some accountability. Hire a coach or surround yourself with people who are on the same journey that you're on or who are already where you're headed. Lastly, don't be afraid to acknowledge the weakness that you have in finishing strong and to ask other people to support you along the way.
And now, a moment of meditation. If you're not driving, cooking, or doing anything that requires your full attention, take a deep breath and close your eyes as Charlene leads you into an inspiring meditation.
This Finishing Strong meditation is designed to help you finish strong on all the endeavors that you embark on every year that you start. The idea is for you to finish strong. Take another deep breath in and exhale. Again, allowing your body to relax on the exhale. Now I want you to imagine or pretend that you are on a track and somewhere off into the distance is a finish line. Start running on the track. Run strong. Run fast. Feel the commitment and the tenacity and the desire to make it to the finish line. Whenever you see an obstacle, jump over it. Whenever there's a setback, get right back to it. Get back up and keep running, stronger and stronger and stronger to the finish line. Keep running. Keep feeling the commitment. Keep feeling the intensity of your resolve to finish strong. Increase and increase. You are more committed. Keep going. Keep going. Stronger and stronger. You're committed. You're in it all the way through to the end. You are a strong finisher. See yourself cross over the finish line. Feel the confidence and the honor and the joy of finishing what you start and finishing strong. Allow that joy to increase. Allow the satisfaction of finishing strong to grow and bubble over. You did it. Say to yourself, I did it. Yes. On the count of 3, open your eyes, feeling the joy and the satisfaction of being a strong finisher. 1, 2, 3. Open your eyes and carry the satisfaction and the joy of finishing what you start with you, and allow those feelings to further drive your commitment and your tenacity and your resolve to go after what you really want and to stay after it until you actually receive it and achieve it. Be someone who finishes strong. Until next time, grow on purpose.
Thanks for listening to the From Caterpillars to Butterflies podcast, your one-stop shop for all things personal growth. For today's show notes and even more tools and resources to help you transform the life you have into the life you love, go to www.fromcaterpillarstobutterflies.com.